we're actually doing something a little bit different, actually very different. We're actually here in Richmond, Canada, which is about 20 minutes away from Vancouver, Canada. We're here to visit a shop that CW Unit owns. We're actually waiting for him to show up, but I can already see some goodies through the window. Check this out. It's literally like looking inside a candy shop. So I originally hit up Charles to do a video on his personal R34 GTR. Unfortunately, it's down right now. We're gonna be checking out some of his shop cars. Speaking of Charles, there it is. All right, so we got Charles over here today showing us his beautiful shop with the beautiful cars inside. Yeah. So just kind of take us through what you got going on in here.
All right, so this is my shop. It's called CW Collective. We are specialized in doing GTR restorations. We do a lot of in-house development on new parts, carbon fiber parts, custom parts for GTR that we use on our own restoration cars. Unfortunately, this is January and all the nice cars aren't here. They're all back to Japan for auto salon week. So we do go to meets and the track days, and then a couple of the cars are still in Japan for work at guard stores, which they do all our engines. So the nice car is not here, but we do have a couple cars that we are working on right now.
Yeah, I mean, like you say that, but like, I mean, still literally.
Because this is not finished cars.
Okay.
We still have that blue one that, some of you probably know what it is. It was, we took it to Japan a couple of years ago. We raced in Fuji. And
that's the one
that's the one,
pretty much know you by.
The blue one.
Yeah.
And then this is the one that we're building right now for customers. And this is all customers' cars except that one. So this car, the third car that we start doing the restoration on. Okay. So this is actually not a GTR. It's actually a four-wheel drive NA Skyline. It's an EN R34. So we did the whole GTR metal wide body. Okay. GTR.
Are these like the
OEM quarters? We have the OEM inner fender flares. We do this, the Yoshida struck tower for, to fix a common Skyline rust issue. Yeah. Frame was new because the car was pretty rusty when we first got it. So the whole front frame is new. Struck tower is new. Whole rocker is new. The rear quarter is new. The rear trunk panel is new. Pretty much the roof and the floor pan and firewall is stock. Everything else is new metal from Nissan. Okay. So
because this is originally a all-wheel drive.
Yes, so we don't have to do the all-wheel drive conversion on this car.
So does that mean like the trans tunnel?
The trans tunnel is all the same as a GTR. But the thing is, we do the whole GTR engine, chassis, everything GTR harness back into the car, so you can see the GTR fuse box. We have everything GTR done to the car. Yeah, yeah. So technically, it's a GTR, except the VIN number.
Okay.
Yeah. So whatever the money we spend on this car, it's probably a couple GTR. You can buy probably 3 GTRs already.
So is this like a crate motor? Or?
This is not. This is one of the engines that we built. It's a 2.8 HAS stroker. Okay. Step 1 with the feed cam. We're running with Spectrum turbos, which they're local to us. A lot of States guys start running them now, and we're good friends for 20 years. So, and I love Hypertune, PRP stuff that we use on most of our cars. I think one of the highlights of the car is the whole interior. We had it done in Japan by Robson. Okay. So we shipped the whole interior back to Japan. We had them do all the Porsche style interior too.
What is this that pattern called that
it's called Houndtooth. Okay. So they're pretty famous for Porsche. This car, we actually built it to match the owner's GT3.
Oh, so he has
the same car, that it's a 991 GT3.
Is it green also?
It's green with the same interior.
So it's basically like a twin.
Yes.
Okay.
This is work in progress. Yeah. It's almost finished. It might not look like it, but it's
So all the plastics and stuff, are they new too, or?
Most of the plastics are new. All these are new. This is new. Except the carpet. Carpet is used.
So is the plastic something that Nissan still makes, or is it all old stock?
They still make, I guess they have old stock laying around, but they're not that expensive. They're a couple $100 here and there, which is good, I think.
I mean, I know the screen. I know that's like a kind of an expensive.
That screen, it's expensive for what it is. Yeah. It's a 30, 25-year-old tech. Yeah.
Because I see on a lot of GTRs, like that one usually kind of breaks.
Yeah. But the screen itself, you can actually get replacement for $200. Okay. It's just a whole module. It's
like the inside
expensive.
Stuff. Right.
Yeah. So this car, actually most of these cars, they're on a rotisserie restoration. So we, when we get the car, we strip it down to the bottom, and then sandblast the whole car. But we leave the electroplating primer on the car, so we only take the paints off.
Okay.
And then we do custom paint inside out. You can actually see it when we get to the purple car. So we did most of the carbon fiber. We have the carbon fiber side skirts, fenders, bumper, hood, and then all the subframe and stuff are new too.
Okay.
And most of these cars we do a titanium hardware upgrade too. So all the car, every hardware on the car that we can replace will be titanium bolts that we have them manufactured.
One of the first things I look at, like in a build, is the brakes.
Yes.
And I see you got some AP Racing.
This is our standard package for all the cars. This is our brakes, because AP Racing doesn't make any brake kits specifically for any cars. So we actually have tried a couple different caliper setup and rotors diameter setup, and this is what we came up with.
So your kit includes
most
like
balanced. Yes. Okay. It came with the bracket. We make the bracket. We make the rotor heads. So they're not the 6000 series aluminum. They're the 7000 series aluminum. So they're harder and they are more durable for corrosions and.
Okay. So they just like last longer.
They last longer. They're lighter, and I think brakes play like a big safety part of the car.
Oh yeah.
So we upgrade on every car. We have the same upgrade.
Yeah.
And we're currently working on carbon fiber ceramic version of the brakes right now.
Okay.
So, but these are one of the first couple brakes that we made last year.
How many pistons are in the front?
Just 6 in the front and 4 in the back.
Okay.
So unfortunately, this one don't have the center lock wheels. All the center lock stuff are back to Japan right now, which I can show you guys with the center lock stuff.
Yeah, definitely.
Which we spent a lot, tremendous of time we work on.
So how much is like this car with that engine setup like expected to push around?
It's a street car, so we're looking at just 500 a wheel.
Okay.
500 wheel.
Plenty.
That's plenty. It's even plenty for the track, but it's not a lot. You do like a lot of highway pulls.
Yeah.
But we live in Vancouver, so we don't got much highway.
Yeah.
But you go to like Texas or like in the East
Where
Coast.
It's literally just miles of just straight.
Like 7-lane highways. Yeah, this car is probably not fast enough. It's more of a daily driver, comfortable street cars.
It seems really balanced, like a balanced setup.
Yes. Our goal is to build a car with current 2024 technologies on an older car. So it gives the comfort, it gives the reliability.
Yeah, and I really like the Nismo cluster too.
The Nismo cluster. Yeah, most of the stuff we got long time ago. So
we just kind of
we don't have to pay the premium price as what they did in COVID.
Okay. So what is this green one right here?
This is actually a customer's car.
Paint?
This is wrap. We didn't wrap it. He just did some minor work done. So normally we don't do like just simple repair because we're short in hand.
Yeah.
We only do full restoration, but he's a good friend of ours.
Yeah.
And he needed just some coilovers, some arrows, exhaust. So we did the exhaust.
Just some simple.
Yeah,
stuff.
some simple stuff so you can try to squeeze in between jobs too.
So is the diffuser on this? Is that your guys'?
That's a V-spec one.
Okay.
Our diffusers, we're actually making new ones right now. With CNC machining, CNC mold, and hopefully they'll come out, next year in January. I know I've been saying it, I mean, this is like the car business. Timeline is always delayed.
Yeah.
This is the original car that started me with building R34. I've been always a Nissan guy. I built Skylines, I built R32, Silvias, but this is the car that actually got me into doing all this crazy shit. It used to have a 2.8 built by Garsource. Not anymore.
Not anymore.
So, but this car was, we did the full rotisserie thing too.
Okay.
We did the full welding cage. I'm trying to stay the same body kit as before, but this car's been repainted. So it gives the old look that I had when I had the car.
Yeah. I mean, it's always cool to see. There's very few like GTRs, especially the 34s, like at least in stateside or like this side of the world that's built like this.
I think people, I would say it's an expensive car to track. Not just because the car is expensive, but parts are hard to find now.
Yeah.
Parts are not that cheap. And if you're making big power, the consumables gets really expensive.
Yeah.
So I don't do crazy tracking with the car. It's just more occasional. I do probably 5 to 6 maximum 10 track days a year
Okay.
on this car.
That's still impressive, I feel like.
But usually when I do it, it'll be in Japan.
Okay.
So we have a team in Japan to service the car.
What tracks in Japan do you usually
Usually we go on Fuji.
Fuji?
Only because it's close to Tokyo.
Yeah, it's very, it's the only real accessible one.
Relatively inexpensive,
Yeah.
and it's a nice track. Because if you go to like Tsukuba, you go to, let's say, Ebisu, it's fun to drive, but they're old. Ebisu is far, Suzuka is very far.
Suzuka's too far. I've been there last year.
I went 2 weeks ago with my white GTR. It was fun track. It was fun track. I would go again, and maybe next time I will stay in Osaka or Nagoya. Hopefully, we will get this car done by 2025. We have the engine, we have the transmission. We actually have all the wheels, analogs, suspension.
Okay.
You can tell the suspension is just in the box, and they just don't have the time. We have one tech, and we have one engineer, and they're so busy making all the R&D parts and trying to finish personal stuff. This car actually sit in the way it is for the past 2 years.
So is this kit like the Garage Saris kit?
No,
or
this is it's called Garage Kakotani.
Okay.
I think it's discontinued. It's one of the first kit when I bought the car, 7, 8 years ago. It's one of the kit that it stands out, so I got the kit for the car. It had those carbon fiber, I don't know what they call it, the fins under the fenders.
Oh, like right over here?
Yeah, it has that. So it's a little wider and more aggressive than the Nismo one you can see on the other cars. So I'm running the set-tune bumper. We make our own front splitters, which kind of matches side skirts.
So is this like the R-Tune hood?
Yes, this is a hood we make.
Okay.
It's a set-tune replica. We stopped making this stuff because we don't want to wait for the Nismo stuff.
Yeah.
It's years of wait, and we need a hood. It's still dry carbon. But most of these we don't sell to public. It's only for us to use, or for customers' car that it's built by us. Yeah.
Like a full build,
full
pretty
build.
much.
Yeah. Most of the parts we make, we try to just keep it in-house with exclusive with the cars that we build. Just because we cannot make anything fast enough to sell to anyone.
But also kind of makes it unique to where it's like if you notice certain things like the wheels, it's like, oh, it came from here. So I'm curious, is this registered in Japan as well?
No, the story for this car is we got it in Japan. I didn't drive it while it was there. I shipped it back to Canada. And then at that time, I haven't had my business of, building cars. All my work was done in Garage Source, so they flew over to work on my cars. I figured, we would never have enough parts at our own shop to finish the car. So he came a couple of times, he tuned the car, he put the new engine in. We didn't work out because we just don't have the parts either, or we don't have the machining that needs to be done at that time.
Right.
So everything is, it's a wait time, so he has to go back and forth. So we're like, you know what? Let's just see if we can ship the car back to Japan and have them
it's faster that way.
Fully built on the engines, because everything else was done. So we have them fully built the engine. We swapped all the new sequential transmission. So we sent the car back, and then we kept the Canadian registrations at that time, but we also got the Japanese registration. We paid the tax on top again for the car,
which I assume is not cheap.
It's not expensive.
It's not expensive.
It's not cheap, but it's definitely affordable. I think I paid around 10 grand.
Okay.
Right, it's 10 grand for.
And that's a one-time?
One time, 10 grand. I think it's shipping. The tax was, at that time, was I going to pay 5,000 for tax and then inspection for the car. 10 grand one way going there and registration for the car. So I think it's more than I put like 20 grand by now. Registered the car in Japan for 2-3 years. Until COVID, I bought the car back, and then I figured the car should retire because we beat the shit out of the car for the past 3 years at the track.
But you use it though, and I think
yes, I use it a lot.
Thing.
And it's actually my only car when I'm visit Japan, so it's my daily driver.
But the fact that you can daily it, like
you can daily
it, but also trust it on the track too.
A properly built GTR, that it's one of the most reliable car that I ever had. It's more reliable than all my Ferraris, Lamborghinis.
Interesting.
Yes, this thing never let me down. I can go to the track, I do like 2-3 hour session, drive back to the hotel, do some oil change, and then the car's good to go.
Yeah.
Yeah, so for the 3 years in Japan, we never had any issue with the car.
But I mean, I think it also is a reflection on like the build quality too of the motor.
Totally. I think it just, these guys has been messing around these cars for so long, and there's 1,000 GTRs are coming in every year for them to work on. So this car, it came back 3 years ago, right at COVID. So right before they cut shipping off and everything got delayed, we shipped the car back while the shipping was still cheap. But we took it apart at that time, just completely stripped the car. We sandblasted, we painted, we did the roll cage, and then it just sat here.
So tell us about these ones behind you.
This one is actually my friend's car. It's for sale. That's why it's here.
Okay.
He moved back to Asia. He doesn't need the car. He dropped it off. He's like, hey, Charles, what are you doing? I'm like, the shop. We'll come visit. He dropped off the car. So this is 2002, the later model ones. It's a base model, but it has XKS 2.8 engine in this car, XKS turbo kit. So he built this car a while back.
Is there a difference between like the later models and like the older models?
The later model, they all have black interiors.
Okay.
So which is more sought after.
Right.
The early model, like these cars, are gray interior. We open the door, it's gray.
Okay.
But that one is completely black. Yeah, the black seats.
Okay.
And this is gray seats. So it's pretty standard. 2.8. Most people do the upgrades, when they have to build the engine. It gives extra low-end torque. Nothing special, but it's properly built. It drives nice. Its car's pretty solid.
I love all the like the little HKS goodies, like the fuel rails. It looks very like
pretty period correct.
Yeah, I was gonna say very period.
Yeah,
correct.
it's not super fast, but I think what a GTR is supposed to feel like.
Yeah.
With 400-500 horsepower, a little bit more low-end power than stock. We've got the coilovers and the endless brakes.
I was gonna say the endless brakes are beautiful too.
This is, I would say, a standard what a GTR should be when it comes out of the factory.
Yeah. So this is pretty much, like the exterior is pretty much stock besides the hood.
Yeah, beside the hood, it got the Nismo side skirts. Most of the cars, that one, the green car doesn't have it. I think it completes the look. Without the side skirt, the car just look a little off with it being a little high, but a big front end.
It falls with the side very well. Yeah. And the back, the rear spat things.
I think that's a must for every GTR.
Yeah.
So this is the same thing. It came in as a shell, and we started building the car with a full restoration. We placed a lot of panels on the car. This car was in pretty bad condition. It's actually from UK. So we did the struck tower, we did whole frame rails, rear quarter panels. We have all the new subframes, new suspension.
So are the subframes are they painted or
they're brand new?
Okay.
Everything. Most of the stuff if we can get brand new, we'll buy brand new.
And I feel like new at the end of the day will always be better.
Yeah, it's always be better.
And I think it'll be better taken care of now.
Yes.
Than it did in its previous life.
Totally, because when the car was cheap, probably when they were $25,000, people would not give a shit about the car.
Yeah, it was just another car.
They would just beat the shit out of it, drive it in the snow.
But I feel like that's also that's what it was meant for,
It was meant for, but when the car is cheap,
yeah,
you wouldn't spend the time and money to take care of the car.
That's
You'd be like, oh, this is cheap. If it breaks, we'll buy another one, right? So
you wouldn't swap a whole subframe.
You would not. You would just leave it rotting.
So are these the Cusco arms you were talking about?
These are Cusco arms that we run on most of the street cars.
Okay.
Most of the street cars we run Ohlins too.
Okay.
The nicer car we run the Nitron R3.
So it just depends on how meaty you want to go.
Yes. Because the price difference is quite big. It's like you're talking about like $6,000 compared to $2,000.
Okay.
So
that's quite different.
Yes.
Is this coating all the original?
No, this is everything since the car was on a rotisserie. Everything has been blasted off. This is all. They're actually truck bed liners that we use.
Okay, so a little bit more robust.
Yes. So it's it's more resistant to like rock trips and.
Because I've heard the original Nissan undercoating stuff is not great.
They suck. And they don't have it under the whole car. It's only patches of where they think you get other abrasive elements. But so we did that for the whole underbody.
Okay.
So we have a two-tone color with the purple car, because it's original Midnight Purple too as well. And then we did the black, so give it some contrast.
And then new subframes, the Ohlins shocks?
Ohlins shocks, and then with Cusco's, and then Nismo lower arms. And then we rebuilt all these with new bushings, new wheel bearings.
Are the bushings just kind of like a OEM
They're just
style,
Nismo. They're just Nismo. We do Nismo. We try not to run those poly bushings, they just because those are a lot more. You need more maintenance on those.
Are Nismo bushings solid or?
They're same as stock, but a little bit harder than
Okay,
stock.
but they're still rubber though.
They're still rubber.
Okay.
Which you have no maintenance issue. You don't have to grease it.
Right.
They don't make noise. They work for another 10 years.
Yeah. Even the dust shield.
This is all new. All new. Everything. If we can get new, we will buy new.
Okay.
If we can't, then we'll try to either fix it, we make it, or we'll clean it and try to make it work. But if we can buy new stuff, then we will. Yeah.
So you mentioned that the whole underside is redone.
Yes.
What color was it originally, factory underneath?
Factory, it's kind of that gray light gray color.
So is the engine bay the same color too?
Engine bay, it's just black.
Just black.
It's just
factory,
black.
Right?
It's just black.
But
from
you guys
factory.
painted it to match
we
the
painted
outside.
match the exterior. I think it looks well. I like color match engine bays.
I was gonna say, I always thought it was weird about these cars, like the engine bay. I mean, maybe because the paint was expensive.
Yeah.
But like it doesn't match. It almost seems like the car was.
No, I think Nissan is just poor at that time.
I mean, they're still poor now, but
there were. Because back then, when Nissan was making these cars, no one is buying these cars.
Yeah.
They're way too obsolete. They're pretty much the same car as R32 for 10 years. They're making the same car for 10 years. They aren't doing well, so people aren't buying these, which makes them rare.
As much as the 32s and 33s.
Yes, so they don't make a lot of these. And I think at the time that Nissan was making a 34, they're going bankruptcy almost, like right now. So all the banner was super like shitty made. The rust protection it's not there.
Yeah.
So most of these cars are super rusty.
All the money went into basically
the motor was there since 1989.
I guess, yeah, so it's not even
So
new.
they didn't even make the motor. They didn't even make anything for the car. They make the look for the car. And
Yeah.
I think that's it.
And the paint.
And the paint. Yes. I think they make a lot of special paint on the later models is because at that time, because it was almost at the end of the production. So they have a lot of shells sitting around. So they need to boost the sales. So they make a couple of special editions for the car to boost the last batch of the shell.
So this is Midnight Purple 2?
This is 2 as well, just like the other one.
So what's that motor sitting back there?
That motor is for this car. It's still a pretty standard 2.8.
Okay.
Yeah, we try to build everything the same. So, it's a proven setup and we don't have to.
It's not like an experimental.
No, I don't have to experiment anything on customer's car. It's been done and they cannot choose any parts that they wanted to put in because I don't want the thing blow up or any sort of issue.
Yeah, it goes back to you.
Yes, so if it's, and all these guys trust me, which I'm pretty happy. I'm glad that they take my advice on what to do.
So where do you guys take these cars to get tuned?
Usually we fly garage stores here to get
Interesting.
I don't want to say it because it's people like, this is crazy.
Right.
I work with them a lot.
Yeah.
And I trust their work. And I don't think I should cheap out the last step. And
especially when after everything else you already did.
And we do have another shop that we work with in Texas right now. It's called Auto Assembly. They do all the Motec stuff for my other cars, which we started to work with them a lot more with the Motec stuff.
So are all these cars going to be running like stock ECUs or?
No, they're all running on Motec. Keep them reliable.
Yeah.
We're not pushing big power on all these cars. We're never doing big power. Even at my car back then, we're not doing any big power.
So
it make 800.
So a lot of these mods you would say is just more for like the reliability, like the drivability.
Yes.
Not
I think reliability is the big thing for building these cars. If your car doesn't run, what's the fun in it, right?
Yeah.
And this one does a bit more power. Back then it makes probably 800-900. But it's still super reliable. I think it's the way you build the car, the way you build the engine, all the machining, the tolerance,
100%.
how they tune it. One of the thing I learned throughout when I was start messing with these cars since I was 20s. We try to do everything at home. We try to maximize what we have, right? Like obviously everyone has a budget.
Yeah.
I don't have a big budget back then. So we just have to use whatever we can and we just have to sacrifice reliability at that time. So we want a fast car.
Yeah.
We don't have the budget, so it's just not reliable.
I feel like I'm in a closet for like an up garage or something.
This is all the stuff that we use, or some of the stuff that we took out of the project cars, and some of the development parts that we make.
Was this from your blue car as well?
No, this is one of the time attack car we got from Australia. We got the shell from. It was on Speed Hunters. It was on the world fastest R34.
Interesting.
Yeah, time attack car. We got the shell. It's in storage too. We just don't have the room.
Is something like that you guys would keep as is, or something you guys would like convert to kind of like a restoration?
We try to convert it back to, I wouldn't say stock, but at least back to stock bodies. We put a stock,
or like a tame look,
quarter panel, and we will keep the cage, but just with a stock looking, with like the the blue car that we have.
So what do you guys do with like parts like this? Because I'm sure, I would assume not a lot of people.
We sell it. We sell it. It just is no use for us.
Yeah.
It's no use for us.
This ducting is pretty cool.
Yeah. It's like dry carbon. So this is our center lock stuff that we make for the GTR 3D printed prototypes. So it's actually a full hub replacement.
Okay.
Instead of
like an
the
adapter.
bolt-on spacer, it replaces the whole hub. It's kind of like the Porsche thing that, you know, we have the thing in the middle to lock the nut in place, so we don't need the reverse thread on the other side to lock the nut.
Are these like the same like sizing as like, let's say like the Porsche ones? Or?
I would say the 10% similar. So you can use some of the parts, you can use 10% of the parts with the Porsche.
Like could you put like the Porsche wheels on it or?
Technically, yes.
Yeah?
Yes, but the offsets are different.
Oh, okay.
Yeah. So I don't think they make a Porsche wheel set with a GTR offset in it. So theoretically, yes.
Okay.
But no. But you can use the Porsche nut. So this nut is actually the one that we make. But you know, this is just part of the nut. Is the whole nut is actually have 5 or 8 pieces.
Okay.
Together it has another washer and another cone and another spring inside to lock this in place. So it's pretty complicated part. The whole car with the conversion is probably 100 parts just to do the center lock conversion.
Interesting. How long did it take you guys to like develop something like this?
Like 6 months. 6 months and tons of money and time and tons of efficient, you know, just printing this out took like a day and then it turns out to be fucked up.
So how do you guys even start developing something like that? Is it just kind of like you scan the original part or?
We try scanning, we got a 3D scanner, but it turns out it's easier to just draw it from scratch. We do a couple of measurements with the stock hub and then with some of the Porsche parts that we have. Just scanning 100 parts and calibrate it to the right size, it just takes too much time. We started from scratch.
I mean, they look really good. I mean, I know you said it's like the prototype
This
stuff.
is the prototype stuff. The coating, it's not the way we want it.
So is this like a...
This is anodized. The color is a little off.
Is this like billet or...
This billet.
Billet?
This
Okay.
billet from a solid chunk of aluminum. So just the nut, I think it's probably $600 to make one nut. It's just a lot of machining. All the holes, all these has to be perfect, or the wheel's gonna fall off.
Right.
And it's a bunch of grooves for the O-rings to keep it seated properly with the shields and stuff like that. It's more complicated than we thought. Just making a big nut and screw the wheel on.
Yeah, you would think it's like simple.
I was thinking just, you know, we have a big tube, we'll thread this, and then we'll put a big nut on it.
Yeah.
And apparently that's not how it works. So we're actually making 10 sets right now. We make 10 sets for, you know, friends and family who wanted it with the center lock wheel. So just 10, and then everything else after will be just people who built the cars. Yeah, and those are all the old stuff that we have to put back on the purple car. These are stuff for the green car.
What aero is that from?
That one we made.
Big one.
The big one we made it for track cars.
Okay.
That we never use.
So,
and we'll
so
never going to use. That's dry carbon, foam core.
Were the dots to like 3D scan it?
Yeah, in the beginning when we made it, we didn't use any computer. It was hand laid with vacuum bagging.
So it's kind of like a one-off.
Yeah. So we're like, oh, let's try to scan it and see if we can do a revision on it. Never happened. This is my newest collection, my newest JDM collection. So I got it off my friend actually. The friend who built this car, he sold it to me. So it was a 91 NSX with the 2002 front end and rear end conversion. It has a root case, Madonna wide body kit. This thing's actually twin turbo. Got a 6-speed swap.
6-speed out of?
6-speed out of the newer NSX.
Okay.
Unfortunately, I don't know much about the car. I just got it.
So from what I know, these cars, the quarter panel's removable,
Yes,
right?
they're all removable.
So like when you do a wide body kit, you're not cutting anything.
You don't have to cut
it's
anything.
It's just a bolt on.
Everything is bolt on. You can always go back, but finding stock parts is actually harder than I thought.
Harder than finding aftermarket?
Harder than finding aftermarket, but coming from a GTR, I think it's cheap. Everything is less than half the price.
But I know like there is like an NSX tax though, like on parts.
There's nothing compared to GTR.
Interesting.
NSX tax is, if you say, let's say you buy a dry carbon bumper for GTR is $5,000. $5,000 is a whole body kit for NSX. You know, buying any interior parts like GTR seats like $20,000. Nice seats for NSX $4,000 maybe.
Yeah.
Okay, now if you buy NSX XR seats, it's, you know, significantly more.
Yeah.
But generally, like, NSX parts are headlights, maybe $2,000.
coming from GTR.
Coming from
Pretty
GTR, $2,000 headlights, $10,000 headlights.
Yeah.
So it's a completely different game. Yeah, for the price of the car, yes, the parts price are expensive.
Which is funny because like to the average person, this probably looks way more expensive.
Yes.
Than the cars.
This
that are
is
in the
like
shop.
half the price, not even half the price in a GTR right now.
I never understood why, but I feel like NSXs are, it never hit like, you know, like the market, like the value. Like,
I think it's because this car is kind of stuck in between, you know, they were trying to build it like a Ferrari. You know, if you have the money, average person would buy a 430 or a 360, right? 360 is old, but you know, you would buy something that's similar, like a Ferrari or a Corvette, like a new C8 Corvette. GTR is different because there's not a lot of cars that resemble in that class. They're not trying to, you know, go after styling of any, you know, supercar. It's its own styling. This thing obviously is trying to be a Ferrari. As much as, you know, people don't admit it, it's not a Ferrari. Like, come on, it tried to look like a Ferrari.
That's what it was. That's what it was rivaling,
it's
right?
tried to look like a Ferrari. So if you have the money, you would buy a Ferrari. If you don't have the money, you won't buy anything.
I love the seats in this thing.
It's the Porsche seat. It got the houndtooth Porsche seats.
It really matches with the white too.
I think I would go back to the red seat so it looks like a Honda.
Yeah, with the white and the red. Yeah. I think that's kind of a classic.
It got the red carpet from NSX-R already.
Okay.
Yeah, it got the NSX-R interior and so you open the door and
with the Gannon doors too.
Yes. So it got the seats. It got the NSX-R door seal, the door panels, the roof liner, center console.
Did they come black from factory? The headliner?
No, because it's all NSX-R stuff.
Okay, so the R came with the
This
black.
car had tan interior before, so it's tan carpet.
So everything was swapped out.
Everything was swapped out with brand new from Honda. My wife was like, "It smells like an old Accord."
It's like, well, I mean,
I'm like, well, fuck, we have like old Maxima in the shop. So my wife is a Tesla person.
So that rear hatch is not stock.
No, this is a. I don't know why they did it. It's a Lexan. It's a fiberglass hatch.
Okay.
And then I think the two previous owner, whoever. They would complain they can't see the back, so they cut a hole and put a acrylic glass so they can see.
I mean, kind of like, I'm assuming like an exotic car look where you can see like a Ferrari.
But the OEM one is all glass. So I don't know why it was.
So just.
I'm trying to look for an OEM one.
You want to pop the hood for us?
Hood or the trunk?
Or the whatever this is.
Give me 1 second. I don't know this car.
This is a V6, right?
It's a V6. The turbo is underneath.
You would have to pull this out to service the turbo, or?
I would have someone to pull it out to service the turbo. Someone, and that someone is not me.
I think that's about it.
All right. Well, thanks for coming by.
Yeah, thanks for letting a complete stranger check out the shop.
Hey.
So,
you like cars? You're more welcome to come.
what is the actual name of the?
It's called CW Collective.
CW Collective.
You can find me on Instagram, my website. Maybe I'll go back to YouTube.
But yeah, again, thanks again.
Okay, all right, no worries, no worries.
Having me out here.
Thank you.
Yeah.
Thanks for coming by.
Yeah, on Christmas Eve too. So
holiday.
yeah. So I guess some B-roll
Holiday
for
with
you
cars.
guys. Yeah.
All right, man.
And we'll call it a day.
Easy.